Fake anti-Semitism group Stop Anti-Semitism posted their nominations for Anti-Semite of the Year. You may notice some of the people on there, you may not. But there's one in particular I'd like to talk about, and that's Miss Rachel. According to Stop Anti-Semitism, she's a contender. But who is she? Miss Rachel, also known as Rachel Ann Accurso, is a children's entertainer. She's an educator, YouTuber, and singer-songwriter. She has a YouTube series called Miss Rachel, where she sings educational children's songs. What a bastard. Why has she been targeted? That's because she's spoken out against Israel's genocide and even has the audacity to feature a young Palestinian child on her show.
Let's go back to sleep, Rahaf. We're so tired.
This is Miss Rachel, hanging out with her new friend, Rahaf. Miss Rachel is like YouTube's Mr. Rogers, with millions of subscribers and billions of views.
Can you nod yes?
And Rahaf is a 3-year-old double amputee from Gaza. She lost her legs when her home was bombed, and months later was medically evacuated to the US.
إحنا رايحين على أمريكا عشان نكمل العلاج.
Miss Rachel saw a video of the little girl, now living with her mom and a host family in Missouri, watching her show.
She's just so precious. Hopping like a bunny, and she was kind of hopping on the couch.
And arranged to have Rahaf come visit her in New York. Rahaf is part of a new group of fans Miss Rachel discovered last year, refugees of the war in Gaza.
I was tagged in a video of a toddler and a brother and a sister watching in a tent. And I saw the toddler swaying and the little girl smile, and I was just so touched that I could bring a little bit of joy to them during unimaginable circumstances.
Did you know that you had this audience?
No, I was completely surprised. Someone wrote, "This made me realize that these kids are like mine and like ours." And I know so many parents that enjoy our show feel the same way. They say, as a mom, I just think about, I see my babies. All children are worthy.
She's posted more and more about Gaza as the war has gone on, highlighting the humanitarian crisis and launching a fundraiser for kids. She's gotten supportive comments, but there's also been backlash.
The bullying is so bad. It's so bad. But I can handle this.
I mean, she's clearly evil. Miss Rachel has received huge pushback from Zionists accusing her of anti-Semitism, and this prompted her to post this. Wanting kids to live isn't anti-Semitic. She isn't wrong. It doesn't make you anti-Semitic, but some think you are. But she rightfully defended herself. This is what she wrote on Instagram. The Stop Anti-Semitism Now group should not be able to try to ruin people's lives, cause them to receive threats and need security, try to get all business partners to drop them, accuse them of a serious crime, being paid by Hamas, and get news to cover it with no evidence. I have 2 kids who shouldn't have to deal with the consequences of this. Remembering my son accidentally overhearing us talking about my safety and then him crying, wanting to hold my hand all night, scared something would happen to me. This has taken such a toll of me and my family, and all I've wanted was to help kids. I mean, you think it would be that simple, but Zionists are exposing themselves. Not only does opposing child murder make you anti-Semitic, but if you think Jews should be treated equally, that is now also a qualifier. In a now deleted article, the Times of Israel posted this, and by the way, you will not believe what it says. It's insane. To dislike certain ethnicities is racist. To see Jews as equal is anti-Semitic. Understand the speciality of anti-Semitism. Jews are the only people based on an assignment, and a divinely ordained task is to be exemplary to all of humanity, to be God ambassadors on earth, fighting for the good of everyone. That means that when one says that Jews are just like everyone else, you're a bigot. You don't need to look down on Jews to be anti-Semitic. And the idea that Jews should be no different than Gentiles already implies opposing Jews, as if Jews should adjust to majority norms, integrate and assimilate away. Sorry, every time I read that, I absolutely lose my mind. Of the 4 or 5 years of doing Turn Left, we've covered anti-Semitism smears, all these sorts of things. I think that's the craziest one. Literally saying, if you think Jewish people are equal, you are anti-Semitic. I'll go have a fucking brain aneurysm. If you don't believe in Jewish supremacy, you are a racist. It's honestly mind-blowing stuff. It's so bad that they've had to delete it. Kevin, why does opposing child murder make you an anti-Semite?
Well, obviously it doesn't. And just that Times of Israel bit was so incredible. It's the inevitable outcome of the kind of Jewish supremacist evil that is the Zionist entity, Israel. Very simple. I think the bigger issue, which you didn't even mention in this, Curtis, is that the 2025 Anti-Semite of the Year nominations skipped over both you and I, which is a disgrace. We've both been absolutely terrible, awful bastards in terms of, covering the all of the murder that Israel has been doing for this entire year, and yet we couldn't make the list. It's a disgrace and an outrage. No, I'm joking. This is farcical and actually is sort of dangerous in a sense because it undermines the seriousness of the claim of anti-Semitism by making Miss Rachel, who's just like the sweetest person ever, apparently, into an anti-Semite. Like any list of anti-Semites that doesn't include Nick Fuentes is not one to be taken seriously. Simple as that. This is so obviously a pro-Israel Zionist smear job organization. We don't need to take them seriously. Intellectually, we do need to take them seriously politically because clearly they have contacts, clearly they're able to get their nonsense into news organizations and to have an impact, and so we need to take them seriously from that respect. But in terms of the actual content of it, it's nothing. It's literally just the most absurd, disgusting creatures that would defend any of this nonsense. I saw that E. Fartlow put out that Miss Rachel was guilty of blood libel for the very tweet that you showed there of her saying not wanting the children to die isn't anti-Semitic. Look, and the thing is, if you oppose that sentence and you think it is anti-Semitic, what you are inherently saying is that you think being Jewish is equating wanting children to be dead, which ironically becomes one of the most unfathomably anti-Semitic things I can imagine a person saying.
Well, I mean, when people try and smear everyone as anti-Semitic, they trip up on themselves and say something really fucking anti-Semitic, right? Because because again, the implicity is like, oh, Jews kill children. Because when you say, I don't think it's anti-Semitic to be accusing, sorry, it's not anti-Semitic to oppose children being killed. If you object to that, you are implicitly saying, well, but Jews do kill children. Like it's fucking well. And as we say a lot, wrapped up in all of this are Jewish people. It is so harmful for Jewish people because you are seeing a rise in anti-Semitism, and you're seeing sort of those who see these utterly deranged pieces like the Times of Israel and calling Miss Rachel anti-Semitic. It creates more anti-Semites because they're like, I don't trust Jewish people now, which is obviously the wrong way to go. But Zionists do not give a flying fuck about Jewish people because one of their targets or one of the victims of false cases of anti-Semitism is Jewish people themselves.
Yeah, well, we saw exactly such an example earlier. Zach Polanski, a Jewish man who's so proud of his Jewish heritage, changed his name from the anglicised version of his name back to the original Polanski in order to show his pride and his heritage, was smeared as an anti-Semite for saying that Israel should be stopped from doing genocide. Now, I have a lot more faith in my Jewish friends, neighbours, comrades, even people I don't know and don't like, that being genocidal is not a core part of their identity. But apparently Zionists seem to think that it is a core part of the Jewish identity, which again becomes phenomenally anti-Semitic. Again, there is no person more anti-Semitic than a Zionist because they don't care about Jewish people; they care about Israel and nothing else.
Yeah, the so-called anti-Semitism concerners, including the right-wing media, because I tell you what, Talk TV, GB News never speaks up against racism unless it's anti-Semitism because they're weaponizing it, then literally attacked a Jewish leader, Zach Polanski. And the way in which they attacked him, again, with his name change, it was literally to do with the Holocaust. And they took the piss out of him. It's fucking insane. I mean, the Times of Israel, really exposed within the Zionist project and those within the Israeli government that many believe that Jewish people should be seen as superior, especially when it comes in contrast with Palestinians and Arabs. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, this is the inevitable outcrop of the kind of racial supremacism, which is at the very core of Zionism and the very core of the Israeli state. Um, they see themselves as clearly above all people, but especially Arabs and Muslims in the local kind of geographic area, because politically that makes, I suppose, a certain sense from their perspective as to why that is the case. Yeah, as always, ethno-states or ethno-statism, ethno-nationalism will lead to this place. There cannot be a kind of exclusionary nationalism, rather as opposed to the kind of liberation nationalisms of of the kind of South African model or things like that, right? The racist nationalism will always lead to this kind of hatred. It won't always be given the carte blanche, murderous blank check to do exactly what the Israeli government have
But
done
if
in
you're
Gaza.
if you're friends and allies, you will. That's
Well,
the thing.
exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're in the right circumstance, you'll be able to get away with that, but maybe you won't. But either way, that hatred leads to this kind of mentality.